Yes, so glad to be there. I know it was a little bit last minute compared to other meetups, so I'm really glad that so much people took the time to join on a Monday. And I know that, as I mentioned at the beginning, for the Americans, you're coming back from your Thanksgiving week. So very glad to see everyone. And on that, let's say, a very interesting topic around the IGEL Academy, Renee thought it might be a good idea to have a pre-launch party. So Renee, please tell us, what is the plan behind the meetup today?
So I don't know. So I talked to Mike and Ed, and they told me, hey, we have a new IGEL certified architect course online pretty soon. And I said, hey, let's do it special way and have a meetup with the community. And you are the first. Everyone here is probably the first outside IGEL who will see this, but to get way more information from Ed and Mike, I have just you know that 2 or 3 slides before we start with our guests. Yeah, what should it be otherwise than IGEL Now next year? So I'm very happy, and I'm also very deep involved at the moment to plan all the things in Fontainebleau. If you're not heard, 25th to 27th March in Miami Beach. It will be great. It was a great event in Miami last year, also in Munich. But the next one is in Miami. And yeah, I'm working very hardly on creating another great community lounge and community stage there in Miami. We didn't finalize the number of amounts of sessions we have, but I can tell you between 15 and 25 sessions will be hosted there. We have great speakers from all around the EOC space, also security space this time, because this also this time very focused also on endpoint security, but it's pretty cool and brings a new way into IGEL ecospace. And this is something, maybe you saw my video. Some people said it was a little bit too loud for LinkedIn. But today is the last day for our special Black Friday offer or Cyber Monday offer. So the pass is only $99, and you're getting on top a $50 voucher for our swag shop, which is on site. Because this is also cool. We have a real live swag shop online where you can pick your items you want, and this will be pretty cool. So now enough of advertising. Now next, I will hand over to my good friends Mike and Ed, and take it from there. Tell us about the academy, about the new ICA course, and let's have a little bit of fun. If you have any question, please raise them. Zep and I will have a eye on the question in the chat room, and you can ask anything you want and wanted ever know from Mike and Ed.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Sebastian and Renee, for hosting us to kind of socialize our latest IGEL certification. I'm Mike Weyrauch. I'm the instructional designer for the IGEL Academy, the IGEL education team. Ed, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ed Webster. I'm the senior manager of global education for IGEL, and we're really excited to bring this new course out, and especially to announce it to such a trusted group of IGELites who know this product well and who would like to see more and more of this type of training. It's been about a little over 5 years since we started the IGEL Academy, and it's taken a lot of twists and turns over the time. But these courses, the certified courses, have been the core of the IGEL Academy from the very beginning. We started out with the IGEL Certified Professional, moved into the IGEL Certified Engineer, and then the IGEL Certified Architect was the highest level that we had brought together. But now this new version of this course is finally here, and I'm going to hand it over to Mike here, and Mike is going to kind of walk you through, and I'll chip in here and there. But Mike is our instructional designer, so we tap into experts throughout the company who are technical gurus. We get those that meet on the table, and then Mike is like the chef, and he just chops it all up and makes something beautiful out of it. So Mike, why don't you go ahead and go through, and then if we have any questions, we can address those as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ed. And speaking of subject matter experts, I would like to make sure I point out Ivan Koyatz, Josh Locker, and Randall Cruz. Um, this course is a long time coming, and we know that a lot of people were asking, well, when is the ICA coming out and ICA, coming out? And at this point in time, it's just Ed and I, and we're being pulled in, multiple different directions. But I just want to just say that, be on the lookout for more technical courses and technical ice packs that'll be coming out over the next few months. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But like Ed said, we're really excited to get the ICA out. It's our highest, IGEL certification. And what we're going to do today is we're going to just talk about the course, what an IGEL architect is expected to be able to do. We'll kind of look at the learning objectives for each module. We'll look at each module, talk about the the I can statement. So kind of by the end of the module, what should you be able to do, and focus on the topics that you're going to be covering within those things. So can everybody see my screen, by the way? We good?
We do.
Okay, great. Thanks. So speaking of the ice packs, just a quick update on our roadmap. Like I mentioned, we have kind of lagged a little bit with our technical trainings. ICE was a huge uplift for us. Hopefully you've all have been able to take ICE, because that actually is a prerequisite for the ICA. But that was a huge undertaking for us to do. We will be doing some updates to that, specifically around the UI in 2025. But my focus for next year, for 2025, as we get into it, is to release the IAFI, which is the Imprivata agent for IGEL. I'm working with Chris Feeney closely on that. We will have a basic free version of that, which would be a pro pack. But we're also going to be creating an ice pack, which is going to be behind the paywall for our premium members, or premium for life members, with much more in-depth demos and best practices and so on. We're going to do a reverse proxy and ICG ice pack. We're going to focus on an ice pack with automations, with template keys, structure tags, and priority profiles. And we're also going to create a single sign-on for Okta and Ping. In the ICE course, we focus on Azure for our single sign-on, but we want to be able to make sure that we provide best practices for those of you using Okta and for Ping. So that's what's coming over. So kind of keep on an eye out for those things over the next few months. Now, the ICA course, first off, it requires an IGEL Academy Premium for Life. If you have any questions on that, you can reach out to us at training@igel.com, or you can reach out to your IGEL sales rep or your IGEL partner for different quotes on it. As I mentioned, there are prerequisites to it. You can't just get the IGEL Academy Premium for Life and just hop right into the ICA. You have to be ICE certified, and obviously ICP certified, because you can't be ICE certified if you're not ICP certified, because these things build off of each other. With each course, there is this understanding that you have this base knowledge, which each course thus builds on. So the course focus is around designing and deploying IGEL infrastructure for complex and scaled environments. This is a very macro level base practices course. It's a lot of the learning content centers around you really asking questions about the environment. Because there's so much disparity between every organization's environment, we can't really go very micro. So it's very macro level. And I'll talk more about that here in just a minute, but we talk about your design considerations, your networking concepts, what to do for best practices holistically for large scale or extra large environments. That's what really this course is focused on. All right. And guys, let me know if there's any questions in the chat while I go along about each one of these. All right. So I want to dive into kind of each module. All right. And won't spend too much time on this, but just to give you an understanding of what you're asked to do. And the way in which I designed courses, each module has an I can statement. So the idea behind it is when you're introduced to the module, For example, I can design an appropriately sized and scaled IGEL environment to fit my company's needs and infrastructure. So by the end of the module, you can kind of reflect on that and think, well, can I do that? Can I design, an appropriately sized and scaled environment that fits my company's needs, based upon the information that was given? And the second piece of this advanced design consideration and networking concepts module is identifying the various ways my IGEL OS devices can communicate with the UMS server internally and externally, and then prepare the environment appropriately. So we're really going to be focusing here when we talk about design considerations. We're really focusing on questions that every architect should be asking about their environment. Questions around their data center architecture, questions around their number of endpoints, the location of those endpoints, what does the database look like itself? And then categorizing that. Okay, so using IGEL's general sizing recommendations to sizing recommendations to determine if the environment is a small environment, medium, large, or extra large environment. And that's all based off of what you're going to find on our excellent KB. So what we really wanted to do with this course is to make sure that our KB and the courses are aligning with the information that we're getting, and specifically around the general sizing recommendations for your infrastructure, for your environment. We really wanted to make sure that that's kind of the best practices across the board.
One thing I think that you should probably just mention is that the understanding here is that the course, as we create the course is created for the now, and we try to update details within the course throughout the year if there are significant changes. But you'll find that Mike has put a lot of nice links in there back to the KB. The KB is always going to be your source of truth, because that's going to be much more nimble. If there's changes that happen, they might show up in the KB before they show up in the course. So just be aware of that kind of hierarchy there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, and this is very much a video-oriented course. The course itself, each module, at the beginning of the module, you'll have a PDF document that you can download, which has all of the transcripts for the videos. So I know for myself, I like to, have, closed captions, or I like to be able to read also while watching or listening. So you can do those different types of things. But then underneath each one of the videos, most of the videos, I don't think it was all of them, but most of the videos have a direct link to the KB article that is associated with that topic. So thanks, Ed, for clarifying that. The other thing we're going to focus on is distributed UMS, and also the schematics of what each different environment size looks like, and what are the key infrastructural differences between them. So we move on to advanced client deployment, being able to use multiple methods to deploy and boot up IGEL OS on your endpoint devices when the devices have no OS installed, a different OS installed, or an older version of IGEL OS installed. And that's going to be talking about sneaker-net style deployments, versus kind of automation. So, and what we really do is we dive into kind of the pros and cons of each one of those different deployments, whether you're using the UD Pocket, the OSC, or the OSCW, SCCM, which I know Microsoft calls it something different at this point in time. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But Jeremy Green, one of our TRMs, did a really, really nice job of demoing how to go through the SCCM process. So that is one of the few demos that we actually have in that section. So it's going to be a longer video. Also, the OS deployment appliance, and how to use Pixie Boot. So again, just trying to give you a lot of different tools in your architect toolbox to be able to use what you need for your environments themselves. Again, very macro level. The next topic we focus on is disaster recovery. We talk a lot about security with here at IGEL. And one of the things that needs to be discussed is disaster recovery. In the unlikely event that you experience a disaster with IGEL, you will be able to utilize best practices when recovering your environments. So focusing on things like database clustering, UMS configuration, backup options, and also if you have ICGs, what considerations do you need to think about when backing those things up or getting them back up and running again? We also focus on advanced UMS concepts, so being able to apply advanced UMS functionality to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of your IGEL environment. So database migration, post-installation configuration, hygiene for the UMS, so like license cleanup and reclamation, and also purging unused profiles. So again, just really good best practices for maintaining the most optimal IGEL environment. And then we kind of figured that there was a couple of other things that other best practices that didn't really fit into a box, right? So being able to apply those best practices when designing and deploying any IGEL environment with a focus on large scale and high complexity. So how do I avoid boot storms? Why is time so critical to IGEL OS? Proper profile and device management, and being able to keep those things essentially to not drive yourself crazy. And as environments become larger and larger and larger, it's really important that you stay organized and that you're managing these things properly. So we just give you the best options for that. So looking at default directory rules and automation, how do I make my life a little bit easier? And also, how do I configure different displays for a plethora of diverse endpoints that our end users are going to be using? And then lastly, keeping logs under control, which leads perfectly into our next module, which I'll have Ed talk more about because he's kind of our cloud share expert. I'm not kind of our cloud share expert. He is our cloud share expert for our labs. If you've taken the ICE course, you know that the labs are just they're phenomenal. They're an amazing resource that we have. But before we get into that real quick, I just want to let everybody, just to give you an idea of the course, all modules conclude with a knowledge check. All right. So there are anywhere between 2 and 4 questions that are summarized within that module, that knowledge check, and you have to score. You have to get all questions correctly. So you have to score 100% in order to move on. You can take as many times as you need. So don't necessarily worry about that, but you will be getting feedback. You get feedback with every question that you answer correct or incorrectly. So pay attention to those things, learn from those things. If you have to go back into the module, please go back and retake them as many times as you need. So I'm going to hand it over to Ed to talk a little bit about our troubleshooting and logging module that we have, which is, again, much more interactive. It's very similar to ICE. But again, the reason why we didn't focus so much on creating cloud share labs for the ICA course is because one, we just didn't know what to do. Yeah, it's very conceptual. It's very macro level. So go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And I'm really happy happy that we were able to put in the course some element of live lab. And so this is the first time the ICA has had a live lab element. And so what's really cool about this particular lab is that we're going to essentially hand over to you a broken IGEL environment, and we're going to ask you to fix it. And we're going to give you some hints and some pushes in the right direction in there. But this was designed, this idea, this particular module was designed technically by one of our most amazing support engineers, our escalation engineer, Josh Locker. And Josh has seen it all, right? So we told him, he said, look, Josh, we want to see kind of like the the bare bones basic. We can't go too deep in this course. Give us the thing that you see and your folks see all the time, and it's just kind of a common issue that causes problems within the IGEL OS. And let's just let's try and fix it. Let's try and get it so that our users are well trained to the point where they're not calling in for these things over and over. Like, let me cut you down. Let me cut your calls down by a bit, right? By getting this out there. So hopefully that will achieve this purpose, and it'll be a really neat exercise for everyone. I think that being able to pull some logs and interpret some basics in the logs is really nice. Understanding some basic concepts about what can go wrong is really going to be good. So anyway, that's the gist of it. Nothing super exotic, but I think you'll find that this is going to be a nice addition to the ICA, and hopefully we'll be doing more and more of that as time goes on.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. And just a couple of things. When launching the CloudShare environment, please be patient, and make sure that you close all unnecessary tabs or windows except for the instructions, which are going to be on the IGEL Academy, and then in a separate tab, it'll launch the CloudShare lab. So it's kind of best practice to, and we know you can't close out of everything like Teams or whatever chat you're using for your company. But try and close out as many things as possible to have it run a little bit more smoothly. And I do want to pull up real quick. I want to pull up the lab itself. I have it here. And just for kind of a PSA, if you click on the IGEL OS 11 tab, all right, and it says secure connection failed, this is a part of the actual lab. You're trying to fix this. So we don't want people to get a bunch of, tickets coming into Ed and I saying like, the OS 11 lab doesn't work. It's like, well, that's the whole point. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll go into the actual course, you'll pull up the instructions. Actually, let me do that real fast here. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. You'll pull up the actual course and you'll have, where are we at here? Logging and troubleshooting. There we go. You'll have the instructions on one side of the screen or on one screen.
Yeah, we recommend that you use two screens
Mm-hmm.
on this part so that you can just make it a little easier. Otherwise, you're just task swapping. No big deal. But
Yeah. And it just takes you through step by step, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and you'll be able to fix the onboarding error for the OS 12 tab. You'll be able to debug, the log gathering for OS 11 device. All right, but again, I just wanted to point that out that if you see this, that's the problem that you're trying to fix. All right, and kudos to Josh Locker and Ed for figuring out how to create a snapshot of a broken environment to be able to do this. So, I mean, there was a lot of work behind the scenes to be able to create this. So, we really hope that it's fruitful for you. And that's actually the last piece of the course before we hop into the ICA exam. Just a real quick, the exam is much more traditional. We took a more traditional approach to it again because the course is so conceptual. 35 randomized questions out of 45. Okay, so it just takes them randomly. So no two exams are going to be the same. Questions are formatted multiple choice, multiple select, and true false. Multiple select will have the boxes. Multiple choice will have the radials. You have 40 minutes to complete it. And then again, if you have any issues with the exam, please contact us at training@igel.com. So hopefully, that gives you a good idea of what the course is all about, really what we were trying to do with the course and the kind of the ultimate goals of it. And we're really excited. We've had some internal people go through the course so far and had some really good feedback. So we're excited to see what happens once it's out in the wild for our customers and partners. So I guess at this point in time, we'll kind of open it up for Q&A.
But there was no question, more feedback, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any questions popping up, but if you do take the course and there's something that you find that doesn't quite make sense to you, or if there's any issues, you can go ahead and, again, just shoot us an email over at training@igel.com. So first question is, are we going to see any Linux items on this IC exam? So in terms of Linux items, do you mean Linux specific questions or items, like as in you have to use Linux in order to do something?
I just came off mute. Well, obviously you can deploy for Linux. Obviously, there's the new Linux administration CLI items. Obviously, that is becoming more apparent in some customers and when they don't want to deploy Windows for using UMS. And so, obviously, a lot of the exams in the past have been tailored around Windows, and I'm starting to see more questions about deploying UMS on Linux. And so just wondering if we're going to see any more of those like administration style CLI commands or just items in general around the Linux deployments.
Yeah, this course doesn't really go through deployment very much at all. The idea here is that your deployment training and deciding how you're going to deploy and what you're going to deploy on. Most of that practice happens in some of the earlier courses. They kind of do it's a little bit of a show and tell with the ICP, and then you actually get to deploy the software on both in terms of UMS. You get to do a deployment with both the Windows and Linux environments on the ICE course in the
Yeah,
labs.
I guess I was looking at more like because we were talking over distributed UMS. So like in what scenarios you could potentially use a Linux environment with Windows as it relates to when you're deploying a distributed UMS environment. Because I like more on the advanced side is as folks maybe migrate from Windows to Linux, it'd be nice at some point to see some of those on this type of exam because it does start to come up more and more.
Okay, that's good feedback, John. But no, I would say that our focus has not really been on the Linux. But if you're seeing that, we can discuss those things and we can maybe we can talk about doing a Linux deployment ice pack or something like that, Ed.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Just what would be helpful is to just know maybe somebody from our technical team, we could kind of funnel some of that through to talk about how, if there's enough meat there to create a course around it, or if it's something that we need to just incorporate into one of our future courses.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. So you took ICA in 2023. Yeah, there's a pretty big difference between the old ICA and this new ICA. I mean, it's covering some of the same topics and there's some reused, information, but I think you'll find, well, like one of the things that, we don't even touch on OS 12 at all as an example in the old ICA. It's really not the OS 12, UMS 12, not in those courses. So this new course will have that topic, the topic of the updated UMS, the updated OS. There's some other considerations that you have to think about with this new environment. So yeah, I would definitely take a look. If it's locked for you, there could be a couple reasons. So do you have the premium for life, or perhaps maybe were you on the old subscription premium that had expired? Because if you were back in like 2020 or so, I think there was still a subscription for this, and anybody who had the subscription, once that expired, it was gone, right? So and then what we did is we actually had a short time, almost a year, where we created this kind of a pack where you, let's say, could purchase a pack of courses. But what we did is we eventually came to the conclusion that we wanted to go with this idea of premium for life, where you just pay once and you keep it forever. And when we did that, we grandfathered all the people with the pack, but we didn't go back all the way to the subscription. So if you had a subscription, that's expired, but unless you had like a 5-year or something and you're still going. But the people who were in that little interim period where they got the pack, they were brought in. So
Lucretia,
yeah, I think we'd have to look at.
So you can you get into that that learning plan? Or are you saying that the learning plan is locked or that the ICA is locked?
I mean, we could certainly
Because
we could certainly take that offline and take a look at it for you too, and see if there's something going on there.
yeah, it's so I'm actually logged in as you right now, and it looks like that you haven't passed the exam yet, the IGEL certified exam. I'm sorry, the engineer exam.
Professional? Oh, the
Yeah.
engineer exam. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ICE is
That would do it.
available. Yeah. So ICE is available. And then once you take the exam, then you can open up the ICA and take it from there. So yeah, you still have access to it. Yep.
Okay. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah. I'll look at it for you. All right.
If needed, like I said, just drop me a note and I can create a connection between our Academy team and you. Or if you want to follow up in the ICE minor certification channel, Ed and Mike are active anyway. But if you want, just drop us a note and we can create a connection.
Any other questions?
Looks pretty quiet.
Good. I would say thank you very much. Also, thank you for everyone who attended today. It was really good amount of people here discussing, and again, I can only tell you I really impressed of what you're doing there in the academy. I really like the courses and the voice. Listening to Mike telling me all about IGEL and all the things. And yeah, so I can highly tell you do the new course. And if you have any questions, let us know. If you're not member of the IGEL Academy, go there, register today. It's really valuable. And yeah, if there are not more questions, I would say thank you very much again, and enjoy your Christmas time. Sepp.
Thank you, Ed and Mike.
Thanks, everyone.
Very good job.
Thanks,
See you guys.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye all. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.